welcome everybody. I'm here with Barking Dog, and I want to introduce you, Barking Dog. But what tribe are you from, and how do you pronounce that?
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me to visit with you a little bit today and share some thoughts with your friends and people who are watching and listening to this. I'm Anishinaabe. I'm a Woodlands Indian. I reside in Northern Peninsula, Upper Peninsula, Michigan. I'm Crane Clan. Jijak is my clan. And Barking Dog is my spiritual name, and translated would be Midadigwi Anamush, that literally means the sound that the dog makes.
Okay.
My colonial name is Darryl Brown, and I'm an artist, and I'm happy to be visiting here today in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing your time and being willing to do this.
Well, thank you, for sure.
We talked about how kind of Americans have broken up the tribes of your people. So are you saying Anishinaabe as the one people to kind of bring that unification back? Or are you originally from a different kind of subset of tribe?
Okay, good question. Perfectly framed, I like that. Anishinaabe is our original name as a unique people, indigenous people to this colonial or continental United States, which we call Turtle Island. It's who we are, okay? That's how we would refer to ourselves, as Anishinaabe. But with the invasion or the colonization of this country, we broke up into three groups, and we did that for our survival. These three groups we call the three fires, and each one carried an obligation or a responsibility, and they were named Ojibwa, Odawa, and Deuteronomy. Some people may have heard the name Ottawa or Chippewa or Potawatomi, but that's kind of a bastardization.
Okay.
But those three fires are just designations of our responsibilities. That's not a description of us as a people.
Right, okay.
But Anishinaabe is who we all are. Those three groups are Anishinaabe.
Okay.
And then today, it's even divided further down, what they call federally recognized tribes. And in Michigan, we have 12 federally recognized tribes under treaty. But even those 12 are all Anishinaabe.
Right. Okay, thank you. And if you're willing to share, what are these three fires, these three responsibilities?
Okay, so you have the responsibilities of the three fires would be: the Ojibwa was to hold on to our spiritual teachings. The Odawa, the Potawatomi was to hold on to the medicines, knowledge of all the plants. And then the Odawa's responsibility was to have interaction and communication with all the other groups of people.
Okay.
So that was our responsibilities. And we felt like with the colonization that was happening and our people we were being decimated. So we felt that in order for us to survive, we needed to split. And we went in three different directions, knowing that if one group survived, that's what we were trying to do to survive. We couldn't stay together.
Right.
And the separation took place at the Straits of Mackinac. The Anishinaabe split up into three groups at Mackinac.
Okay. Cool, thank you. So I have three more questions. Hopefully that can help the people who are watching.
Okay, for sure.
The first one is for people my age, or really anybody kind of feeling called to begin contributing towards healing others and healing this world and taking part in moving this world into a better place for the generations to come. What is a first step that can be taken, or some things to keep in mind when we're starting this journey?
Make it easy.
Thank you.
You have a death culture and you have a life culture. Now, the death culture it puts as its priorities materialism, like capitalism, materialism. And through that materialism, it's gotten way out of control in terms of militarism. And so military becomes big business. For the United States, it occupies about 67% of the budget goes to military. And you have a group of people who can literally contemplate weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
Now think about that. Who can even imagine something like that? Weapons of mass destruction that could destroy the world. That is a death culture.
Right.
Now, the other choice would be the life culture. The life culture is about renewal. It's about that gives us life the beauty way. Living in harmony and balance with the earth. We don't destroy the planet. You don't destroy your home. So you learn about the relationship that we have with the water, the relationship we have with the air, and all the other ways of life forms. We say we have the flyers, the walkers, the crawlers, and the swimmers. Those four descriptions covers everything in life. Flyers, walkers, crawlers, and swimmers. We're part of the animal kingdom as walkers, and we break it down even one step further. We call ourselves two-legged.
Right.
You have four-legged and two-legged. So we're two-legged. Very simple. And we recognize that as a cycle, like the four seasons, that life is a continuum. It repeats itself through the four seasons. We have to take care of this. We can't cut down all the trees in the rainforest. We can't pollute the river. We want to have a society and a lifestyle for the next 7 generations. It's a life culture versus a death culture.
Right. Cool. Thank you. So keeping all of these different groups of species in mind when we're making our choices and seeing what would be beneficial for the earth.
Correct.
Okay. So the next question I have is, what are some things that you do to stay grounded in your purpose every day, to stay connected kind of to spirit and to your version of God and creator? And what do you do when you lose some direction? What do you do to reconnect?
Well, good. These are good questions. It's a choice. It's a life choice. Like I said, you got 2 paths to follow. One is for the death culture, one is for the life culture.
Yeah.
If you're following the life culture, then you make choices that you make sure that you're doing things that isn't going to contribute to the destruction of the planet. For example, I could never go to work for an oil company, right? But I could go to work for a hospital where I'm helping people, stuff like that. So you make choices and you look at it and say, does this industry, does this career benefit, or in some way does it hurt?
Right. Okay.
You would never participate in creating a product that would hurt people. You would make a product that would help people, right? So that's number one. Number 2 is to understand your priorities. If you understand who you are, which is very important, what your true identity is, your identity is in relationship to life itself. You have creator and creation. And since we are creation, it's easy to believe. I don't care what you think your religion is, or whatever your concept you call God. We call it great mystery, creator, because who knows for sure, right? But we know that because there's creation, there had to be a creator of some sort. So that's what we're most grateful for, is this great, awesome miracle that we call life. Now the question is, can we learn to live? How do we learn to live in this great miracle so that it's sustainable for many generations to come? That should direct our thoughts and our contemplations and our prayers. When you understand that, you come to a place where you realize, when you know that enough is enough, you will always have enough. And since you're putting your priorities on developing yourself as a spiritual being, like love, patience, kindness, compassion, courage, those are attributes, virtues that we spend our time developing in personal growth, because all the material wealth in the world, you can't take it with you. It's usually just basically worthless as far as we're concerned. But that you can bring with you into your eternal spirit is the type of knowledge that you acquire while you're here.
Right.
Whether you learn to play music, dance, art, poetry, medicine, farming, gardening, touching. These are things that are very, very tangible, valuable experiences.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I like to think of it kind of as the refinement of the soul, and how much can we really refine our essence and how we show up, like through the things you said, our values. So to sum that up, it's kind of almost a question of, are we supporting life through our actions, and getting our priorities straight, what we truly care about, right? And that will, if we're centered in that, then that can guide us through our thoughts and what we do in the world.
That's it. You summed it up. I mean, that really is.
Mm-hmm.
How do we, as a spiritual being, our soul's essence, live in balance and harmony with the environment that we're given, that the land and the space around us, and that is the real quest. Learning how to live.
Yeah.
That's our purpose. That's our priority. How do we learn how to live? And you want to do it in a way that's beneficial, that's helpful to other people. It's not cause no harm, bring no harm. And we even refine that. You're talking about refine that is to even our thoughts, right? Our thoughts. Thoughts have power. Thoughts have energy. Okay, we say in our culture we have 4 bad medicines. The first bad medicine is gossip.
Mm-hmm.
The words you speak can hurt people. Second bad medicine is listening to it. Listening to gossip. Because you don't know. If somebody's saying something bad about a person that you've never met, it may be true and it may not be true. But it's already poisoned your mind. And your thoughts about that person could be very hurtful. The third bad medicine is negative thinking. Negative thinking. I don't know, some number like 85% of all illnesses are psychosomatic. It's negative thinking.
Right.
So if you have wrong thinking, you have wrong action. If you have right thinking, right feeling, you have right action. And the fourth bad medicine is what we call the evil eye. The evil eye is if you look at a person and you have a hateful, negative thought in your brain, you can hurt that person. So that gives you evidence that this thought has power.
Yeah.
And you have to govern your thoughts. So even our thoughts have to be governed.
Yeah.
That is the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people, we're all on our own different parts of our journey, but I know a lot of people, that's the stage we're getting to, is where we can control our actions and not listening to gossip or, talking about other people like that ourselves. But we're at now, like, stopping these stems of negative thoughts before they can express themselves, or finding out how to not really just shove them down, but what's causing them, and just figuring out ourselves more and how we can choose to not feed into that, I guess.
And people are making themselves sick by just saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't feel good.
Right?
I don't feel good." Well, of course you don't feel good. You just said it, right? I'm getting a headache. You're confessing something to the negative.
Yeah.
You're perpetuating that, right? I'll tell you a story. I was diagnosed years ago. I mean, a long time ago. They said that I had a form of Barrett's esophagitis. It's a type of adrenocarcinoma, a type of stomach cancer, right? They told me that. They took the pictures.
Yeah.
I can honestly tell you, not for 1 second did I ever believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't own it. I never, no.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't even register. I said, I don't believe it. I don't have it. And here I am. I mean, how long ago was that? And I don't have it. Because I never believed it, ever. I never took it and said, "Oh, I got cancer. I got this."
Right.
No, I don't. You may say that, but I don't believe it.
Right. You didn't bring that into your identity.
I didn't bring that into myself. I never brought it into my belief system.
Thank you. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, once they find out that they have cancer, they're told of this news or some study or some lab that's done on them. Then that's when the cancer rapidly progresses because the fear. They're just like, oh my God, and they realize and they assume it's part of themselves. So thank you. That's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I want to ask is, how can we support your community, the Indigenous community, more? How can we respect your community more, and how can we get in touch? Because a lot of people, I love hearing from you, and I know a lot of other people would love to learn from the knowledge that you have. So how could we support your community and get in touch?
Well, I can start by saying we don't have any do-overs, right? Mm-hmm. But the world would have been a totally different place if with the encounters, the arrival of the Europeans came here, had they approached us and said, hey, we need to learn from you.
Right.
We need to learn from you, and then we'd like to teach you what we know. Mm-hmm. We said, okay, let's do that. Do you know what the world would be like today if that had happened? The knowledge and the information that we have that could have been shared, and vice versa, the world would be a totally different place, number one. So we have survived. And one thing we want people to understand, for better or worse, right? This is Indian land. This is our land. This is our home. We have no place to go, all right? Is and always will be our land. So for the Indigenous people, those who come from this land, the bones of our ancestors were buried here before the Europeans even came here, right? We occupied this land. This is our home. We have no place to go. So we are First Americans, First Nations people. We love this land, the bones of our ancestors, so we defend this land. We want people to know that they created treaties. Treaties that gave allowance and permission to the European countries that came here, other countries that came here, to be here, to occupy and to visit. But it was only an arrangement, not a fact. Like we gave up our land. We gave the agreement to share the land. We retain our sovereignty. It's important that the non-native indigenous people, non-indigenous people, understand treaties. Okay. And hold their government, not our government, hold their government accountable and say, you honor those treaties. You insist all over the world that we honor treaties, but you're hypocritical if you don't honor the treaties right here with the original people. And there's a lot of obligations and treaties that they don't follow. That's not our government. That's your government. That's their government. Okay? Hold them accountable. Saying, are you upholding the treaties? Are you honoring the treaties? Because the treaties is what gave the United States its identity. The treaties is what gave the United States its opportunity to be here, to occupy this part of the world that is our land. Right. We're sharing it. We're sovereign. So there's another sovereign government, like co-equal partners. Mm-hmm. Don't leave us out of the equation. Consult with us when it comes to big decisions that impact the earth, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay? We should have a final say in the pipelines. We should have a final say in what you do to the water. We should have a final say to what you do to the air. That's our air. That's our home, right? Consult with the indigenous people. We might have a different value system. That says, wait, it's not all about money. You know, you don't want to just arbitrarily cut down those trees. You know, those trees were where the rabbits and the birds and the squirrels live. We don't necessarily want to turn it all into timber and lumber. Okay, we need our woods. The oxygen that we breathe comes from the trees. We have a relationship with those trees. We don't see it in a material way. And that's what we need people to understand. Our value is for the protection of the earth. And that protects it for everybody.
Cool. So understand these treaties. We've been talking a lot that the indigenous population has been dwindled down, you know. So this seems like the best way we can help support you is understand these treaties, keep our government accountable, and advocate for your say, for the knowledge you have, for the understanding you have about
Exactly.
the world.
We're not extinct.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not extinct. We're here. We're your neighbor. We may look just like you. Over 350 years of assimilation, we got white Indians, we have black Indians, we have blue-eyed Indians, all right? We live next door. We're not confined to a teepee. We don't all ride horses. We go to the same schools. We're part of this network, but we're unique. We have a different cultural belief.
Yeah.
But don't say, well, you don't look like an Indian, you know, like a Hollywood version of an Indian, you know? We're a part of this assimilated process. We're your neighbor.
Yeah.
We're across the street. We have a different belief system that is for everybody because it is an earth-centered belief system. No doctrine, no theology, no dogma. We just observe the earth as witnesses and we emulate the earth. What nature teaches us called natural law, universal law, not man's law. Common sense. Just simple common sense. You don't piss in the river that you're going to drink out of. Huh?
Right. Cool. Thank you so much. And is there do you have a website or anywhere that people could see?
No, but I would share, you know, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Darryl Brown Art
Okay.
with a capital AEART on Facebook.
Okay.
And people could go there and see my work, see my artwork, and learn about some of the things that I wrote about.
Yeah.
And friend me, say, hey,
Cool.
I accept it, you know.
Cool.
Darryl Brown Art. Yeah, and then can go from there. And they can get in touch with you.
Right.
You know, maybe someday you can have some of your friends over and they can ask questions. We can talk and maybe share some food or do something.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Miigwech.
Midway.
Miigwech, that's thank you.